Hello everyone, and thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at something different, something unique. A toothpick style quad that's offset. You've probably seen the thumbnail already. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to Miscellaneous Mike. I got your note and I appreciate it very much. Mine has the GNB 12 amp ESC and flight controller all in one board, running the AMAX 1103 7500 kV motors. Even though it says 1 to 2S, I've been flying them on 3S. Using the HQ 2.5-inch bi-blade prop, 25 milliwatt all-in-one VTX and camera. My receiver is the FR Sky RXSR. Motor mounting pattern is the typical 9x9 and also the AMAX 3-hole pattern. You can also build it with the 16x16 flight stack. Motor post from motor post, I'm getting 108 millimeters. Carbon fiber is a full 3 millimeters thick. Arms almost 3.5 millimeters thick. Offset means that the rear motors are higher than the front motors. Mine weighs almost 50 grams. I've been flying it on the GNB 3S 450 milliamp batteries, which brings the all-up weight to just over 90.5 grams. This version with the 16x16 and the 65 millimeter props weighs just over 53.25 grams. Here's a look at the weave, and it is stiff. So the first thing I want to share with you is DamFast does have a website, and if you go to damfastfpv.com, you'll find this frame costs you a whopping $12.99. Don't know what shipping costs, but I do know they're in the Midwest, so regardless if you're on the coast or not, shipping can't cost too much. If you're international, I'm not certain they will ship to one of the other countries outside of the US. So that's something to research. That's damfastfpv.com. He named it that because that's his pilot name. So this is a little bit different. This is offset. We've seen this in larger quads. I don't think I've seen it. I think Airblade did an offset. I can't remember what they call it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tomo Quads did an offset. And by offset, I mean that one end of the frame is higher than the other, and the back end being higher makes the most sense in order to deliver clean air to the rear of motors, so that you can fly a little bit better, you can tune a little bit tighter, you get less prop wash. That's the theory behind it. Now, I haven't fully tested enough of this sort of thing out to where I could declare that to be the difference, but I can tell you one difference that I feel on this is that it just feels more responsive, and I'm guessing that's because it's got really skinny arms. That all the thrust you're generating isn't blowing hardly against itself. It's going right through. Even the base plates are very, very skinny. You don't have a big section of the carbon fiber that's thick at all that can really grab a hold or stop that thrust created from the props from getting, against other air to create thrust rather than stopping it against itself. So I think that's what I'm feeling on the sticks. And as I said in the quick roll, I am flying the 7500 kV 1103 AMAX motors on 3S. And I've been flying them on 3S the entire time I've had this. I did burn out. This originally came with a Happy Model flight controller board, so that would be my, plus one to the list. I think it would be four Happy Model flight controllers that I've burned out. Some people have asked me about that and how I can still be running them. I don't know. I've still run them, and they tend to work. I have burned out some of them. I don't know where this one came from, because this did come to me built, but anywho, that's an aside. You can use any flight controller you want. You can use one of the new Beta FPV boards or the Nameless RC boards. Diatone's got a new board. I'll be showing you that shortly. The Diatone board is more traditional, whereas the Nameless RC and the Beta FPV boards have the horizontal or laid over a USB port, which I think will be a trend going forward. Now you can build this, as I showed you in the quick roll, two different ways. You can use the typical all-in-one board, or you can use yourself a 16x16 stack. I am a fan of keeping the profile low, so all-in-one boards it is. I actually didn't fly the 16x16 stack. I'm going to send that back to him. We're not talking about somebody who has lots of money here. This is a guy just like you and me that had an idea and he wants to see it come forward. He's been flying it himself for a while, and he thinks it's of value to the community. As you've seen in the flight footage, that extra wide field of view that we have on the camera really creates a perception of speed, kind of like what GoPros do, and I enjoy that. I know some people don't, but when it comes down to these toothpick style or twig style, grams count, and when you add a higher quality camera with a narrower field of view, you have less perception of speed and you have more weight. You see, our flight ends at just about 3.5 minutes, and our battery comes down in good safe measure at 3.56 volts. So I want to make sure it was clear when I talked about that offset. So these boards don't mount together like this. They go one on top of another. And traditionally, you mount your rear motors on the top, because that's the theory, is that you get a 3 millimeter offset that gets the rear motors higher. So as you're flying forward, the rear motors get clean air rather than turbulence air from the front motors. Now, some of you, maybe over on RC groups, remember we had a topic where we were talking about how the rear motors work harder, and it's kind of got spun up over there. So this would help in that theory of these motors get cleaner air, so it should allow you to tune more tightly in theory. It should also allow you to have more thrust, and those are the things that I was talking about, because when you're flying forward, you're going to get a greater offset. I have a hard time twisting my wrist this way. I'm sorry if I'm out of frame there a little bit or out of focus. But so as you're flying forward, you're tilting your nose down, the nose being on the left. The rear motors are higher, 3 millimeters higher than normal. And you might think that's not much. Well, it's not much, but it's also 108 millimeters in total length, and it's also only 60 grams. So there's not much to micros anymore, so a little bit of an advantage might be an advantage. And you might be thinking of it as a racing advantage. Me personally, because I'm not a freestyle pilot by nature, I do the big punch outs, and I do flips and rolls and things like that. But I think there's efficiency gains in this design. As you can see, those arms are very, very thin, and hopefully I've been rolling the quick roll. I haven't broken mine. I burned out the board, but the frame has been fine. I was initially a little bit concerned. I think you have to use quality hardware when mounting these two boards together. I think that's one area you're going to need to be careful, because if you don't mount them together with quality hardware, they're going to snap. Just going to be that way. And it can be a little bit of a pain. Like I'll show you on mine, to mount a battery pad like this. So I actually put 2 pieces of battery pad on the underneath side of this. Let's see if I can show it very well here. Hopefully you can see that I've got a battery pad on top of a battery pad. So I've got a half piece back here, and then I slapped it all on top. I prefer to use the rubber band so I can toilet tank in my particular situation. He has designed a battery holder for a 2S battery to go in here. And then he's got this one designed with these, I guess you'd call them webbed or frog feet. It's a very high quality print. I'm really kind of surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. Maybe it's because my prints are always so terrible. But he's got a bunch of different colors. I don't see on the site where you can pick colors for this stuff. So maybe he's got these on Thingiverse for other people to just download and use. I will find out if that's the case, and I will link it down below if he is just giving away his designs. Otherwise, they might be appearing on his website, which again is DamFast FPV. When you get there, you'll recognize this little logo right here. So the last thing to talk about is with these toothpicks and how you're wanting to fly them. This doesn't necessarily fly to this specific machine. This is my feelings in general. If you're going 2S, these props will be fine. But if you're going 3S, these props are going to deflect at some point. All of the props that come in this format are going to deflect or deform at some point in the throttle on 3S. So you're going to get some weird noises. There's going to be a limit to your tune because these are going to be flexing in air on high throttle maneuvers. So if you're frustrated by your toothpick on 3S, switch off of these props and go with the HQ 3x2s, or these are the 2.5-inch versions. So I may have gotten that wrong in the quick roll. So they're the 2.5-inch bi-blades from HQ. They're much stiffer, much stiffer. As you can see, mine are very, very dirty from all the grass stains, and they're very, very robust. I haven't broken a single one, and I have crashed these so many times on so many different quads. You'll find that you can tune these props a lot more than you can a prop that's super flexible like this. But what this does deliver is possibly a smoother flight, because it won't respond as quickly because the prop will bend and flex even on 2S. So if you're going for smooth lines, and kind of, if you're familiar with LeDrib, he does real smooth circuits and works in tricks into his flow, kind of that slow waltz or that slow dance. These props will work just fine. But if you want to do high impact or high performance maneuvers, you're better off going with these HQ props. That's why I swapped this out to the HQ props, because I like how they perform better for my flight style. Not that you can't use these, they're just different. I'll put a CLI dump below to my tune. I don't recall tuning this too much, and I think that might be yet another advantage to a very skinny arm with very little weight in carbon fiber, is that it's just easier to tune. At least for me, I think I only spent 1 or 2 packs. Maybe I could have made it be even better, but it felt good to me, so I don't get real picky about my tune. If I can fly it the way I want to fly it, good enough for me, let's go. Again, I want to thank DamFast FPV for sending me a frame and a fully built kit. Actually, 2 of them, but one will be going back, and also Miscellaneous Mike. I want to thank you for your kind words. So at $12.99, you not only get the carbon fiber, but you also get the hardware, the metal hardware and the nylon hardware in order to mount up your flight controller and your two carbon pieces together. You can also buy independent sections of the frame, so if you wanted to have a spare on hand. It's got to be one of the cheapest frames on the market. It's got to be close. I know that the toothpick sells for closer to $20. You can find some other things on Taco RC that sell around that $20 marker as well. This is $12.99. At the very least, I think you might want to go give them a try. It is different. That's one thing I'll say, and it's not a bad different. I think you'll find it's a good different. If you're a builder and you're someone who wants to experience something different in FPV and toothpick style, twig style of quads, I would check that link down below, damfastfpv.com, and check out the frames and see what they've got. You might want to send them an email. They might do a build for you as well. I haven't had that conversation, so I'm not trying to pin him down on that. But I know a lot of people like to experience these custom machines, and they don't necessarily have the time to build like myself. I'm very short on time. I'm doing things like this where I could be building. And if they don't do a build and you want to experience something like this, of course, look up Adam Douglas. I'll put a link below to his Facebook page, Adam Douglas Build and Repair Services. He can definitely build you one. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise about the DamFast FPV frame, please let me know in that section down below. I appreciate your time. And thanks for watching.